I got my septum pierced at 18 and it was completely botched. At the time, I knew very little about piercings and I had no idea what red flags to look for. I just knew I really wanted a septum piercing and I wanted it for cheap. That being said, I also didn't know it was a red flag when the septum piercing took 30 minutes and was excruciatingly painful every second of it. I also did not know at the time that I have a deviated septum, and I also do not have a sweet spot anywhere in my septum cartilage. Both of those things are things that my piercer should have checked and been talking to me about, but that conversation did not happen. She just went for it. Now, if you do not have a sweet spot in your septum, unfortunately, that just means your anatomy is not conducive to a septum piercing. So that being said, this septum piercing should not have been performed on me in the first place. Now, when it comes to the issue of the deviated septum, that is something that experienced piercers know how to work with and to fit to your anatomy to where it will look straight. Since my piercer did not know anything about how to pierce with deviated septums, mine does appear a little bit crooked on my face. Now, that was when I was 18. I'm now 26 and I'm a licensed piercer, so I've come a long way. And what I can tell you is definitely make sure you go to a reputable piercer that knows their stuff, that talks with you about anatomy, and that talks with you about the risks that could potentially come with any piercing. Pay attention to what the shop looks like and how sterile it appears. The fact that they were doing piercings for $20 should have been a bit of a red flag for me as well. Not all cheap piercings are necessarily bad piercings, but for the most part, they are. As I said, I do not have proper anatomy for a septum piercing in general, so it's not practical for me to take this guy out, heal it up, and get it redone. I would just be going through that excruciating pain again for it to be a straighter looking piercing, but it just wouldn't be worth it in my opinion. Tell me what your experiences were like with septum piercings in the comments. I'm curious to hear what other experiences you guys have had because there's so many septum piercing horror stories out there that are so much worse than mine.